concentrate and nicotine vapor liquid.
There it is.
Yes.
Number two, force the FDA to provide a less cumbersome pathway to market for open source systems. Our bottles of e-liquid, or place us in a different regulatory category altogether. 13,000 small businesses will shut their doors with no product to sell. Open source e-liquid manufacturers cannot afford the multi-million-dollar price tag for FDA approval.
Yeah.
Only big tobacco can afford it.
Yep.
Number three, meet with United Vapors Alliance so we can at least talk to each other, understand our mom and pop industry,
Yeah.
and let us talk about how we can prevent youth from accessing these products, yet allowing adults to have their freedom of choice. Mr. President, if you do these three things, you will have the gratitude of 13 million vapors plus their friends and family.
We vape! We vote! 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 We vape! We vote!
Mr. President,
We vote!
suburban moms will not save you. The vaping community will.
Yeah.
Because we vape and we vote! Today, we made history. Tomorrow, we make history.
Yeah.
This community isn't going anywhere.
Nope.
If anything, it will get stronger and more emboldened. Why? Because we are organized. We have the numbers. We have the passion. We have our health. Look at us.
Woo!
So, God bless you all. God bless America. Thank you.
Sherwin, Mina.
We vape! We vote! 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 We vape! We vote!
Thank you so much. And our next speaker. Our next speaker is the president of Savannah's Vote for Alternative Trade Association, but he's come here speaking also as a business owner as well. Please, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Mr. Mark Anton.
Woo!
Well, how awesome is this? See, how awesome was that we got to show the President of the United States in force that we vape and we vote.
Woo!
I'd like to thank Sherwin and the United Vapors Alliance for inviting me to speak today. I'm going to speak a little bit differently and just talk from my business perspective, because I am a business owner. I am a pioneer in this industry for the last 11 years. I started What a Smoke way back in the day when it was a vapor, when it was just cigarettes. And now I'm also proud to be the executive director of the Smoke-Free Alternative Trades Association.
Woo!
Over the last 11 years, I've watched and traveled through this industry as we've faced many challenging circumstances. We've had to fight. We've had to address things, but most important, I've seen how vaping has been accepted and appreciated. But most importantly, it's now on the precipice of being extinct because of these flavor bans. We must stand up for our rights and not let this happen. We have the first opportunity to be a smoke-free generation. How impressive is that? Where we won't lose our loved ones that vape. That's amazing to me. We live in the greatest country, and we fight for our liberties, but we have liberties guaranteed to us. And today is the day we mark that where we're going to fight for our liberties and not let them ban flavors. I've been personally engaged with the FDA, politicians, and anti-smoking groups for the last 10 years. It has been a bruising journey, to be sure. The journey has exposed me and many others to a perspective of the world of politics. It's often hard to believe, being an American citizen, that they can just arbitrarily ban something.
Over Mark and Mike.
Vaping established itself very early on. We didn't have Grim Greens or anyone like that promoting our products. We had smokers who were trying cigalites, and they were sharing it with their friends, and then they were sharing it with their friends. It went viral, all on its own. We don't do like campaign talks about where we market to kids. We share with each other because we love each other.
I don't love Mark.
Vaping established itself very early on. We didn't know we could quit smoking. We just wanted an alternative. But over the years, the science has proven that vaping is far less hazardous than smoking. And now, we're all living examples of that, standing here today. I'm very proud of all of you, that you came out to stand up for your rights. There you go. We vape, we vote, right? But because of this, one thing that's missed is we have the greatest opportunity for the public health that has ever hit since medicines have been invented. We are now at the doorstep of seeing that eradicated for no other reason but politics and greed. So I stand here with you today to continue to fight for that, since I've been fighting since the very beginning. Our industry has been harassed and lied about. Our products, in fact, my own products, were confiscated by Customs and Borders. When that didn't work, politicians, in particular Democrats, came out and said vaping was far more hazardous than smoking. Do you believe that? That's a great motion. Then the CDC comes out and says that vaping is the cause for these vaping lung illnesses. The lies and fake news have to stop now. We've been labeled in the very beginning as an illegal drug delivery device. Then we've been facing flavor bans, taxes, regulations, and all these will continue to put our small businesses out of business. Our American dream is being stolen from us, and we cannot allow that to happen. But it's because of the consumer that I fight since the very beginning, helping a grandmother quit smoking so she could have her grandkids stay over for the very first time. Or a father back to a family. Or because a loved one died. But that's why I and all of my advocate friends up here fight for your rights to help keep your products available to you. Now, the Trump administration is seeking a ban on flavored nicotine, flavors that have demonstrated to be the most critical tool in helping us quit smoking. President Trump galvanized an industry 3 years ago with his pledge to reduce regulations that are killing small and large businesses. Many of us feared a Clinton presidency would mean the death of the industry we love. So the vapor community rallied behind President Trump and helped him win states that were close. We were even credited with the re-election of Senator Ron Johnson in Wisconsin. I remember watching the day when all the newscasters were going, "What's happening in Wisconsin?" I just smiled and knew it was because of people like you that he got re-elected.
We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape!
President Trump and his failure to rein in the FDA and their industry-killing regulations. I'm even more disappointed that he is encouraging the FDA to ban flavors until we go through the most arduous of regulations. I know my business will struggle to accomplish this, and I'm sure many others will as well. If these effects take actions, he could kill the American dream by getting rid of thousands of small business owners based on fake and misleading information by the CDC and the FDA, the very agencies that are challenged with protecting our health. But I stand before you as a business owner, speaking to business owners and consumers alike, encouraging you to keep up the pressure on this administration to alter his course and work with us to find a solution that protects adults and youth alike. The one thing I have learned over the 11 years is that they are not going to give us this right to vape. We have to win it.
Yes.
We do that by fighting. We're here today because we fought and demanded our liberties and our rights to a healthier life. It started back in 2009 with a little company called Enjoy. They fought and sued the FDA and won. Now we have to stand and fight against bad policies. And if we get bruised, we have to stand and fight again. If we get knocked down, we have to stand and fight again. We keep fighting until we win. And I believe we will be victorious because we have truth on our side. We must stand together because we are stronger together. Together we are unstoppable. And together we must stand fast, knowing without a single doubt that we stand in the right. Our lives are important, and the lives of 35 million smokers are at stake. We can't forget our friends who still smoke.
We vote! 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 We vote!
We vote! We vote! We vote! Thank you very much.
Woo!
Lisa Charlo, help welcome Lisa up to the stage.
Woo!
Hey!
Hi.
I'm just a consumer here. My name is Lisa. I'm an ICU nurse at Wisconsin. Urban mom of two amazing teenagers. And I live with the love of my life. But I'm here today with you because I cannot think of a better way to tell the nation that I vape and I vote.
What's up, brother?
Mr. ST himself.
What's going on, man?
I'm running it, baby. How you been, man?
Man, I'm good, good.
It's great to see you again.
Yes,
Glad you
sir.
made it out. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Thank you guys for coming out.
This was an awesome
You,
turnout,
Mark,
man.
Mike, yeah.
Awesome turnout.
Thousands.
Yep,
Now I'm having a
definitely.
fun time trying to find my damn wife.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
I'll catch up with you guys then.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
On accident.
Woo!
My melon flavored English one tasted so much better than that Newport Light 100.
Yeah!
And that started my journey into looking into this thing that I was doing. I had tried and failed countless times to quit smoking. So I started watching all these amazing YouTubers that we have, like Green, right? Dave from Dash Shakes. And I learned from them that vaping nicotine was a much healthier alternative to these deadly combustible cigarettes. You gotta find them. I thought this was a public health miracle because I have literally, in my 9 years as an ICU nurse, watched so many people die. And one of them I'll never forget. He had chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, cancer, COPD, lifetime smoker, probably in his mid-60s, and I watched him all night long on a BiPAP machine, which is something that forces air into your lungs. It has a near airtight seal. It's so tight it causes your skin to break down. It's suffocating. It dries out your mouth, and it's not something sustainable long term. I watched his entire body heaving so violently off that bed just to struggle for breath, until he made himself something we call comfort care, when we stop treatment and do everything we can to just keep these patients comfortable. And then his fight was over. But I'm here fighting with you guys today so that we don't have to watch more smokers die.
Yeah!
Woo!
And now our government and our media has waged a war on the miracle that has helped all of us to reclaim our own lives. I feel like I'm walking into battle some days at work. When I go in, fighting to educate my peers and colleagues in the medical profession that assume, like the rest of the public, that vaping nicotine must be bad based on the lies and misinformation that they have blasted at them from every angle. And one recent morning, a few hours before my 12-hour shift was over, I was told I was getting an admission. And that admission diagnosis was vaping pulmonary injury. And I was excited because as much as I hate this rash of illness is going on, I thought, good, I'll be the one to be able to dig for the truth for myself and find out what's going on. So we get him in and I hook him up to our monitors and make sure his vital signs are acceptable. And I start talking to him. He said he vaped marijuana, he vaped nicotine, all of it, man. But talking to him, he couldn't name a single RDA, sub-ohm-tank, pod, or mod that he used. He was insistent, though, that it was the e-cigarettes making him sick and not the marijuana vape pen that he got from his buddy, because that's what he heard on the news. He heard that on the He didn't hear anything about marijuana or THC, only about e-cigarettes. And this is when our critical care doctor walks in the room and he starts his admission assessment. And while he's talking to the patient, I look over his shoulder and I'm watching as he writes his note. And the first sentence he wrote is patient reports using e-cigarettes. And now my blood is boiling, but I wait until we're outside the room to talk to him. And I say, so, can I tell you a little bit about what's going on here? And he looks a bit shocked as I begin to explain that this has nothing to do with e-cigarettes. And everything to do with black market illegal THC cartridges. And I gave our doctor the information that the media and the FDA and the CDC are unwilling to make clear.
Right.
And people keep getting sick and dying as a result of that.
That's right.
So I go back into the patient room and I'm determined to get more information out of him. And he thought some more about the last shipment he got from his buddy. Well, the last stuff I got was Dank Vapes, Mario Karts, TKO, and my head nearly exploded. Dank Vapes is exactly what's causing these injuries, I tell him. Dank Vapes is a manufacturer of packaging only, and it's used by drug dealers to add whatever they want inside of these cartridges, things like vitamin E acetate, pesticide contaminants, and I was elated to be able to document exactly the brand of cartridges that he was using and the fact that they were black market brands. And be able to educate this patient so that he could avoid getting sick again. My shift was over, but I wasn't done. I walked back to the critical care office and found our head physician of the unit just starting his shift. I knocked and asked him if I could talk to him about the patient that I just admitted to the unit. And he says, "This is the least interesting patient here to me." And I said, "This is the most interesting patient here to me. Can I tell you why?" And this led to a 30-minute discussion covering everything from my story to what I had learned from the UK Royal College Physicians that vaping nicotine held approximately 5% of the harm of deadly combustible cigarettes. And it was harm reduction for the 480,000 smokers who would die each year. We talked about the master settlement agreement, how states are profiting in the billions of dollars that they get from tobacco sales. And because vaping nicotine is such a tremendous way for smokers to switch to a less harmful alternative, they are losing money. Some states are literally choosing to sentence people to death in order to keep that cash flow going. We talked about the fact that I was so passionate about this that I had the molecular structure of e-liquid tattooed on my arm. Some doctors, like him, will listen, and others I've talked to will continue to be educated by the media, unfortunately. I will never stop fighting for this disruptive technology that has helped me reclaim my life. And I am a single issue voter on this topic, and I will never vote for any constituent who threatens to take this life-saving adult choice away from me.
Yeah! We vote! 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 We vote!
All right, this man needs no introduction. He is president of the American Vaping Association. He is one of us. He is a savage. Gregory Conley.
Yeah!
Hey, everybody! Thank you all for coming out on this unseasonably warm summer day for the very first Michael Bloomberg 2020 rally. I just had to make sure you were all listening. So again, my name is Gregory Conley, and I've been for the last 9 years to be one of the undoubtedly loudest, but also most prominent advocates for tobacco harm reduction. 9 years ago, I was a smoker. I had tried to quit the majority of my adult life in gum, patch, lozenge, cold turkey, everything under the sun. And it wasn't until I managed to buy a watermelon flavored vaping product with no intention to quit smoking that immediately I knew that I had smoked my last cigarette. And if 9 years ago you had told me that in November of 2019 I would not only be speaking at a gigantic event in Washington, D.C., be protesting the actions of President Donald Trump, I would have said you're crazy. But here we are. Now, the last 3 months has been among the most stressful times of my life, and I'm sure among the business owners and consumers here, same for all of you. We started off in July with mysterious vaping-related lung illnesses. And the AVA and other advocates, including Dr. Michael Siegel of the Boston University School of Public Health, we were going to the press and saying the evidence continues to indicate black market contaminated THC oil cartridges are and were the cause of these lung illnesses. We were not listened to. But just yesterday, it turned out we were right. And then we had Governor Whitmer in Michigan
and followed by other governors across the country, deciding to ban the sale of either vaping products altogether or flavored nicotine vaping products in response to people getting sick from products sold by drug dealers. And then to cap it off, President Trump on September 11, 2019 says in the Oval Office, vaping is killing people. That was an opportunity for education. And it's appropriate that we're here on November 9th because 30 years ago today, determined individuals tore down the Berlin Wall. Here in Washington, D.C., the other groups want to build a wall, but we want to build a wall of information. And we have supplied great information to the Trump White House, not only about vaping as a harm reduction tool, but vapers as voters.
Yeah! Woo! We vape! We vote! 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 We vape!
Propose a flavor ban. The Trump administration did not consider the millions of adult vapers who rely and use vaping as a public health tool to quit smoking and stay away from smoking.
Right.
You are all shining examples of what harm reduction technology can do.
Yep.
Now, unfortunately, in the 9 years of doing this work, I've come to realize that there are many in public health that aren't actually concerned about health.
Yeah.
Those that are dealing with viruses, with food safety, those type of people within public health are serious individuals.
Yeah.
Tobacco control, meanwhile, they have lost their way.
Yep.
Anti-vaping activists have allowed their hatred of nicotine, of big tobacco, of anything that looks like smoking. It has caused them to forget what public health is all about, reducing disease and death. Every single person on this lawn today, you are a public health success story, and you should be celebrated for making a smarter choice. We need and are cautiously optimistic that the Trump administration is listening to your stories and your voices. Next week, we will find out the fate, at least in the short term, of this technology, regardless of what happens. If they don't listen to us, they will hear us on Election Day in 2020. Now, I managed to hit my 6 minutes perfectly. I hope others do as well. Let me introduce your next speaker. He's a great friend of mine, a great warrior in this fight. Alex Clark, the CEO of CASA. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you. Is this thing on?
Yeah.
Hear me in the back.
Yeah!
My name is Alex Clark. I'm the CEO of the Consumer Advocates for Smoke-Free Alternatives Association. I wanted to, of course, take a moment to thank Sherwin and the rest of the UVA for putting this together. I don't know how many people understand that this was originally planned to happen in spring of next year. And because of all the things that have been happening, they bumped it up at the last minute and got all of you guys here and organized all of this. And it's absolutely amazing. Also wanted to take a moment to acknowledge, of course, we've got well over 1,000 people here today. Just wanted to make a note, CASA has over 250,000 members.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of them couldn't make the trip, but we're all here standing in solidarity with the folks who couldn't make it. They've got to work on the weekend. They've got to take care of their families. They've got to do all these things so that they can live. So thank you all for showing up. My story actually starts in 2008 when I saw cigalikes in a truck stop along I-78 in New Jersey. And I thought, what is this fake cigarette gimmick thing that's obviously being targeted at truck drivers? How can heating up metal and plastic be any better for me than my pack of Pools?
Shut your mouth.
And so for 5 more years, I continued to smoke roughly 2 packs a day. By 2013, I had been smoking for 21 years. I was an unrepentant 2-pack-a-day smoker. I've described in the past my relationships with cigarettes was a torrid love affair with combustible tobacco. Like some other people have mentioned, I never imagined that I would quit smoking. If it wasn't for seeing someone like me, someone who smoked a lot of cigarettes, actually bucking the indoor clean air law in New Jersey and vaping inside in his office, I might not have been convinced that I should give these products a try. So a lot of people ask, why does CASA stand up and fight indoor vaping bans? I'm why we fight indoor vaping bans. You guys are why we fight indoor vaping bans. It's absolutely important that we see people like us experiencing these products, helping them improve their lives. There are 36 million smokers still out there who need to see that these products work. They need to see it in public, they need to see it in indoor spaces, they need to see it in their workplaces, they need to see their families experiencing all the good that can come from switching to a safer alternative. So in 2013, I tried an e-cigarette on a whim. I am one of those accidental quitters. It was a mint flavor. It was boring. I bought it at a grocery store, at a gas station. I bought a mint, and then I went up the street and I bought a tobacco flavor. And by Saturday afternoon, I was on Friday. By Saturday afternoon, I figured I'm doing something wrong. I feel angry and I feel like I'm withdrawing from cigarettes. And so I spent the weekend researching on YouTube. So, where's Nick? Thanks, Nick. There you are. Nick is also the reason I found CASA, by the way. Thank you. So an extra special thank you to all of the YouTube reviewers, all of the social media people who've been promoting our organization.
Yeah!
I practiced for 5 minutes, and I promise I'm going to keep it to that. I don't know where the time guy is, but he's disappeared. There you are. Thank you.
What are you doing? Keeping you in check.
In 2013, in northern New Jersey, there weren't really any vape shops. The only place that I could go to buy a cigalike kit was a head shop up on Route 17. And so I had to search online or hop on a bus and a subway to go to Manhattan or Queens. It just wasn't very accessible to me. And I found Electronic Cigarette Forum. And I was following this discussion, trying to find a local shop.
I'm getting tired.
And I happened upon an exchange between 2 people. One person had come into the forum and said, I've run out of stuff. I need cartomizers. I need e-liquid. Something, I don't want to go back to smoking. Can anybody help me? And someone almost immediately responded and said, tell me what you need. I will come and meet you at this address at 8 o'clock when you get off work and make sure you have what you need to not go back to smoking. That's why we're here. In that moment, and I know there's hundreds or thousands of other moments like that, strangers reached out and said, I'm going to make sure that you don't have to go back to cigarettes. We're all in this together.
Yeah!
They want to talk about how this is some big tobacco plot. They're dead wrong!
Yeah! Woo!
So, on a much calmer and somber note, I wanted to take this opportunity to just share a bunch of gratitude and thank a very diverse range of strangers who've all come together to make sure that none of us have to go back to smoking.
We vote! 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 Woo!
So, one last thing, I would never miss an opportunity for two last things, sorry. How many of you guys are CASA members? For those of you who didn't raise your hand, it's okay. But it's really easy to join. It's absolutely free. Visit CASA.org and join CASA. I promise you we won't send you a lot of email or spam or anything like that.
I don't get one every day.
I actually get yelled at sometimes for not sending enough emails. The other thing to do, August8th.org. Visit it while you're here today. Very simple instructions. Enter in your information. You can find all of your lawmakers, federal, state, some local. Tell them you were here. Tell them you came all the way to DC to stand up for your basic human right to improve your lives.
Yeah.
We vote! 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 We vote!
We vote! We vote!
The next speaker I'd like to introduce to you is from ATR, Americans for Tax Reform. He's been a crusader for our industry for quite some time. Great guy. Please welcome Paul Blair.
Woo!
Good afternoon, Vapor voters. As Sherwin said, my name is Paul Blair. I am the Director of Strategic Initiatives at Americans for Tax Reform. For those of you who may not know who we are a taxpayer advocacy organization that's over 25 years old, founded by President Reagan. And we work on a lot of things, stopping tax hikes, stopping job-killing regulations, but generally stopping government stupidity. I first became aware of this whole vaping thing 6-7 years ago when we started seeing states change the definition of what tobacco or a cigarette was. Between 2014 and 2017, the most targeted product across the country for tax hikes was e-cigarettes and vapor products. Money-hungry lawmakers saw declining cigarette sales and revenue, and they wanted a bite of your industry. They wanted a bite of that growing apple. But in most places, we fought back. You fought back, and we won. And that's how I met so many of the people in this crowd and on this stage today over the last several years. We've been fighting together in the trenches against government stupidity, against an out-of-control effort to limit consumer choices, and against an out-of-control effort by the government to make more money on the backs of hardworking people in this crowd and across the country. This rally isn't about taxes. It's about a much bigger threat. It's about the effort funded by billionaire activist Mike Bloomberg to ban and destroy Today we're asking President Trump to reject stupidity, to reject big government, to save jobs, to save more than 10,000 vape shops across the country, and to save vapors. We are asking President Trump to preserve adult access to flavored vapor products. Now, we at Americans for Tax Reform focus a lot on the politics of public policy. That's why on September 11th of this year, when the president and his HHS announced that the administration would be looking at and moving forward on a ban on these products, we jumped to action and laid out the case for the vapor voter. Now, we know that polling conducted both in 2016 and in 2019 by the Vapor Technology Association that the vote moving issue The most important issue that will determine who a vapor voter chooses for president for 4 out of 5 adults who use e-cigarettes or vapor products is vaping, where a politician stands on these issues. Let me repeat that. 4 out of 5 adults, 80% who use e-cigarettes, their most important issue in terms of who they will vote for is the political issue of vaping. Now, why does that matter? Everyone in the audience understands that it matters because some of you are Republicans, some of you are independents, some of you are libertarians or Democrats. You're all over the place. But in the 17 battleground states that Donald Trump is targeting for 2020, there are at least 5.8 million adults who vape, according to the FDA. Gallup poll from last month puts that number closer to 9 million adults. And that is just in the battleground states that the president and whoever is the Democrat or independent that runs against him will be targeting next year. Now, what does that mean at the state level? In Michigan, where Trump in 2016 only won by 10,704 votes, there are at least 430,000 adult vapors. In Pennsylvania, where he won by about 44,000 votes, there are at least 438,000 vapors. In Wisconsin, where he only won by 23,000 votes, there are at least 220,000 vapors. It goes on and on and on. In pretty much every single state that Donald Trump needs to win or is targeting next year in the 2020 presidential election, the margin of victory or loss for him from 2016 is smaller than the number of vapor voters in those states.
We vape! We vote! 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 We vape! We vote!
This election that will be decided by niche political constituencies and coalitions that I am confident vapors are a part of. You will determine the outcome of the election in the states that matter for the President of the United States. And guess what? It would not be the first time that a politician won or lost on the issue of vaping. The first casualty of vaping, political that is, was Democrat Liz Thompson in New Mexico in 2015. She demonized vapors and wanted to tax and ban the products. She did not understand adult vapors or vapor voters. And vapors like you from across the country donated and helped elect her Republican opponent, Conrad James, in one of the closest elections in New Mexico that year. She lost. The second was Republican Indiana Attorney General in 2016. This guy was elected statewide. He demonized vaping. He supported an absurd state regulatory regime that reeked of crony capitalism and protectionism. He did not understand the vapor voter. When he ran for Congress, he couldn't even manage to get second place, let alone win against a guy who moved into the state from somewhere else. He did not understand vapor voters, and because of that, he lost. And most importantly was the Wisconsin Senate race in 2016 with Ron Johnson. Not a single poll showed Ron Johnson winning that year. Not one. Russ Feingold, the Democrat who was running against him, was going to make a political comeback. It was a foregone conclusion, people said. Ron Johnson then spoke out against the Obama administration's deeming rule on vaping and became a national leader in the fight for regulatory sanity on the issue of vaping. Vapors organized for it. They had Ron Johnson yard signs, and nearly every vape shop in the state was telling its tens of thousands of adult consumers to vote for Ron Johnson. On election night, he not only won, but he outperformed Donald Trump by 70,000 votes. And on that night that he won, he thanked vapors for making it happen. Writing off the adults who rely on e-cigarettes and vapor products as a less harmful alternative to cigarettes is a big political mistake. That's why the ask of everyone here today and the millions of adult vapors and the thousands of businesses that sell reduced risk products to adults, the ask is simple. Save flavors. Save vape shops. Reject Mike Bloomberg and the FDA's effort to ban adult access to these life-saving alternatives. If that doesn't happen, the 2020 campaigns need to be aware that vapers vote.
We vape, we vote, 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 we vape, we vote.
Not only do you vape and vote, but there are a lot of you in very important states. Thank you very much.
Everyone give a warm round of applause for Paul Blair. Did a great job. Our next speaker, he's known as Akshay. His name is Tony Boone, head of Vapor Technology Association. Welcome, Tony.
Hey, how are you today? United Vapers Alliance, first off, thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting this together. Sherwin, Matt Coley, Matt Salter, Alan Davis, I'm sure I'm not mentioning everybody on that organizing committee deserves a huge round of applause for what they did today. My name is Tony Abud, and I am the proud executive director of the Vapor Technology Association. Vapors, shop owners, you are why we are here. You are the cornerstone of this industry. You are the keystone. Everything we do as business owners, we do for you. There would be no manufacturers. There would be no distributors. There would be no suppliers. There would be no industry without you. Without you, consumers standing up and saying, this is important to me. I'm going to dedicate myself to this product, and it's going to change my life. You, with that message, are sending a message across the country. And I'm so proud to stand before you today because all of our stakeholders in this industry are working so hard to keep this industry alive for you. But make no mistake, we have a hell of a fight on our hands. We have a hell of a fight. Our opponents are extremely well funded. Our opponents are organized. Our opponents are entrenched, and they know how to fight. But I'm telling you this today. We built the Vapor Technology Association for this damn fight.
Yeah!
And when we fight to win. Yes. Now, when our industry needed a coordinated strategy, the members of the Vapor Technology Association stepped up, and we put together a 43-state defense program. We lobbied in 43 states this last year to do what? To make sure no flavor ban passed. And guess what? No flavor ban at the state level has passed thus far. Along with over 25 state associations who I am so proud to call members. And I see so many of you out here today, from Illinois to Maryland to Ohio to Florida, Indiana, California, you name it. And it is an amazing group of people that have come together. Mississippi's in the house. And when we looked at what was going to happen this year, we expanded our federal teams. Not one lobbying team, we've got 3 teams now in place. Because we knew the fight was coming, and gosh darn it, those bills are coming fast and furious, and our teams are working fast and furious every day. Now, here's what happened. We got unfairly surprised when that FDA said, we're going to pull that PMTA date, and we're going to pull the industry shutdown date all the way back from 2022 to 2020. So guess what we decided to do? We are the ones that sued the FDA. We're telling them no more moving the goalposts, no more changing the rules in the middle of the game. And speaking of lawsuits, when our governor all of a sudden decided to take advantage of this health crisis that belongs to the black market THC products and started to try to shut this industry down by edict, the VTA stepped in. New York, you are open for business today because of the lawsuit that we filed. take this fight all the way because it needs to be done. It needs to be done. And when the president announced in September that he was thinking about banning flavors, oh my God, we had to go into overdrive. And luck would have it, we were able to take more than 200 small business owners, 200 vape shop owners to Capitol Hill in one day. And I gotta tell you, that was the greatest show of support for this industry in Washington, D.C. before today. The greatest show of support for this industry and for this product to date. And your voices will be heard. We also launched a marketing campaign to make sure the president heard your voices. When many of you were outside in Dallas, outside of his rally, we had a campaign going, so we were on every single one of the mobile devices of the campaign staff and the president himself that was inside that rally. Take your hands off our vape. VapersDoVote.com, and if you haven't gone there to tell your story, do it today. VapersDoVote.com. But more importantly, we knew we had to take the message directly to the president. And we were the ones that put on the first TV advertisement that told the president this industry is too important. You can't shut down over 150,000 jobs, and you can't take away this product that's at least 95% safer than smoking. And we went up on Fox News and we took that message directly to the president. We also ran the advertisement on television where we featured voters from the swing state of Ohio telling the president, we cannot vote for you again, Mr. President, if you ban flavors. Jeff Kaufman and Sarah Rutland, I think they're here today. Big, huge. They did a great job. Story is absolutely important. But I'm telling you, we did all this because the message is too important. It is just too important. That's why when we did the economic impact study for this industry, that was something, and it's become an important tool because now we can say definitively we have almost 14,000 small businesses in the United States that are part of this anti-tobacco vapor industry. $24.4 billion industry with over 150,000 jobs. That is meaningful, especially when we hear the president just yesterday talking about the importance of protecting jobs in this industry. And those poll numbers that you've heard so much about, we made the decision that had to be done, and working with CASA, we were able to get that done. I tell you, it takes allies, and some of the people you've heard on the stage already are incredible allies. You got Alex Clark at CASA has been wonderful, and will continue to be wonderful because of you. And on top of that, Paul Blair at ATR, Greg Conley at ABA. I mean, these guys have been out front on this issue, fighting, and we are so proud to work in the trenches with them every single day. But those poll numbers are going to make all the difference in the world. And I got to credit our organization for stepping up to get that job done. Now listen, I know time seems tough.
This is my brother Mike.
Neither of us, none of us, have slept much in the last few weeks. And particularly in the past couple months. But we got to stay strong and we got to stay the course together. We got to hold your heads high because we have integrity and honor. And why? Because we are on the right side of history. Yes, we are. We are making history together. We're going to get louder. We're going to keep the message going. What we heard last week was encouraging, but we want to keep that message going because we need to make it clear that this is a 21st century technology that deserves respect and dignity, but more importantly, you, the smoker and the former smoker, deserve the dignity and the respect from this administration and from all of our regulators to give you the choices that you need, because what the government has given us so far is just not working. So we have much more in store here at VTA. We are with you in the Capitol. We are with you in the state houses. We are your association, and from the bottom of my heart, I am so honored to call so many of you friends and to work so hard for you and for this industry. I can't thank you all enough for making the trip here this weekend. You have no idea. I don't think you have any idea how important this is, how important your presence here is. And when you go home, you're going to let them know, not just today, but tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So what are you going to tell them?
We vape! We vote! 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 We vape! We vote!
great. This is a great turnout. It's not going to be anything if we don't go ahead and vote on every election. Who here is going to vote next election? Raise your hand. That's what I want to see. The power. Organizations hiding behind kids. That's great. You guys, that's what matters. You guys hold power. No one else. All right, our next speaker, Tina Taylor. She's got an amazing story. Consumer, but vaping literally saved her life. Please welcome Tina Taylor, please.
Hi guys, my name is Tina Taylor and I'm 42 years old. I'm from West Virginia and I'm a mother of 3 young adult children. I started smoking when I was 13. By 15 I was already up to a pack a day. By 16 I was going to the local corner store and buying my own. I had a habit that my parents didn't agree with, but I was rebellious and I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Me too. The only times I was able to quit cold turkey was the 2 times I was pregnant with my kids. And I went right back to cigarettes. I'm fast forwarding to the day that I found out I had smoker's leg or burger's disease. I was 35 at the time. I still smoked for another 3 years. I had bandages on both of my legs. I had to stay in bed with them propped up over my heart and could only get up to use the bathroom. They were swollen and painful. I finally decided that enough was enough, and I talked to my doctor and I called the quit line. First thing they referred me to was the patches, and horrible failed. Then it was the gums, yet another fail. Then it was Channix. I was able to quit for 4 weeks, I think. But on that 4th week, I woke up in the middle of the night with a gun in my head, pointed at my head. I was sleepwalking. I threw the medication away that day and lit another cigarette. I still needed to save my legs. So this time my doctor suggested vaping. Being from the country, I didn't have a vape shop. So I had to order online. The first e-liquid I tried, after I submitted my identification and was verified through the H-checking system, of course, was tobacco. And it sucked. Could not take it. So I got a vanilla cookie in a 12 milligram, and I haven't went back. That's right, flavor save lives. In the first year, I was already down to 6 milligrams of nicotine, and my body was already thanking me. I wasn't coughing, I wasn't short of breath, and I was already seeing huge results in my legs. The first year gave me hope. The second year of my vaping journey, I was down to 3 milligrams of nicotine. I was really starting to see real results then. The big bandages had done turned to little band-aids. And I thought I was becoming a vaping expert. I had something to do, you know, I was fiddling around with them, building. I thought I was cool. I got a bingo with my mom. And I was like, boy, this is a really good chance for me to, you know, tell other people, older people about vaping. Because the ashtray, everybody's always huddled around it and stuff, you know. So I went up and they told me that my smoke smelled great. I said, thank you, but I haven't smoked a cigarette in 2 years. In fact, Phil Rizzardo had sent me some setups to give away, and I did just that. Out of 20 people that I gave up, passed out setups to, I was able to help 12 make the complete switch. One was my sister, who I never thought would ever give up cigarettes. And she not only gave up cigarettes, but weaned down off the nicotine, and she's off vaping. Get the cravings, and she'll get a 0 nicotine, and hit her some strawberry or green apple, because that's what works for her. At bingo, instead of everyone huddled by the ashtray, people were vaping and talking. One lady in particular wanted to try it. She was smoking and using oxygen at the same time. So I asked her, what e-liquid flavors she'd like. And of course she said tobacco. I said, you're not gonna like it. So she tried it anyway. She didn't like it. I had a bottle of pineapple in my pocket, so I pulled that out, and she absolutely loved it. She was vaping a 25 milligram when she started, and when she stopped, she was down to a 0.6 milligrams. She stopped because of the news, because of the media lies, and
I'm a blogger, bitch.
and she's now in the hospital fighting for her life because she went back to smoking. Smoking kills.
Yeah.
Yes. Last time I was at bingo, I was the only one vaping. A gentleman told me as he was smoking a cigarette that I was trying to kill him. And honestly, it really upset me. I tried to tell him it was street drugs, but no one would listen. Out of 7 people at bingo who were smoking then vaping, 6 of them went back to cigarettes after hearing the news. One person went on it. She said she wouldn't go back to either, and I applaud her willpower. I've been vaping for 3 years now, and I'm proud to say that I'm still walking, and I've went from bed rest to full band-aids, or bandages to a couple band-aids, and I can play with my dog and my kids, and if the only available e-liquid were tobacco, I wouldn't have the results I have had. I wouldn't be standing here telling you my story. I wouldn't be standing at all. Flavors help me stop smoking combustible cigarettes. Flavors do save lives and limbs. I'm proof of that. I'm a 42-year-old vapor that enjoys flavors, and I am a voter. This issue is important enough to me to become a single-issue voter. Flavors save lives, and we vape and we vote.
We vote! We vape! 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 We vote!
I would also like to conclude with a moment of silence for the 1,300 Americans that have died today from smoking-related illnesses. How you doing, man? And the millions more that will die if flavors are taken away. Thank you all for listening to my story.
A big round of applause. That's an amazing story. Next person I'd like to introduce is someone that I think we all know. He's one of our favorite YouTube reviewers.
Yeah.
He's the one that vapes really weird. Matt Cully!
Yeah, man! Woo!
Man!
Don't choke! Suck my
I'm trying to say that vaping advocates were fake, but here we are. First off, I would like to congratulate everyone here for quitting or reducing smoking with vaping.
Yeah!
I'd also like to commend every business owner that took the risk just so they can help people that smoke.
Yeah!
Today, people from all over the country and all walks of life came together for this historic event, so give yourselves a hand. What many people have a hard time understanding is, why are vapors so passionate about vaping? Well, we are millions of anecdotes, each with a very personal story about how these products helped us and potentially added precious years to our lives.
Yeah.
I'll quickly give you my story. I was a pack-a-day smoker for almost 14 years. I had a few quit attempts sprinkled in here and there, but they never lasted too long. At the age of 30, I found a lump forming on my lip right where my cigarette would touch. And I went to the doctor, found out this was squamous cell carcinoma, a type of oral cancer. I had surgery on it, but even after that, I went back to smoking. One day, my amazing fiance, Vanessa, got me a cheap gas station e-cig. It really sucked, but it was just enough to pique my interest, and I decided to check out a local vape shop. From there, I purchased much better products, but I bought a Camel Light flavored tobacco liquid, and that just didn't do it for me.
Nope.
I wasn't fond of the taste, I was still smoking, and I couldn't completely transition. Then I found a fruit flavor, it was freaking amazing, and I never smoked again. My story isn't unusual though. I've heard it countless times from others. Flavored products are a user-driven innovation that were created long before Big Tobacco ever stepped in the game. Many of the early vapors made their own flavored liquid. Non-tobacco flavors help disassociate you from the taste of tobacco, and the variety of flavors and devices keep people interested and excited.
Right.
This is why, to this day, the overwhelming majority of adult vapors use non-menthol and non-tobacco flavors. The vaping industry and community has helped millions of people quit deadly combustible cigarettes. The vape shops, online forums, Facebook groups, and some YouTube channels are the support system that aid everyone in this process. In our country, this life-saving technology has been demonized and stigmatized, but other countries embrace it as a harm reduction tool that can extend lives and lower healthcare costs.
Yeah.
Traveling to the UK is like an alternate universe for us vapors.
Right.
In the UK, Public Health England and the Royal College of Physicians continue to reaffirm their position that vaping is at least 95% safer than smoking. As most of you guys have seen, their government has ads urging smokers to make the switch. They even have quit campaigns that include promoting the use of e-cigs. There's even a few hospitals with vape shops inside. The UK plans on being smoke-free by 2030, yet I fear in our country we will still have millions of smokers, which will lead to millions more deaths. While we must address teen use and implement sensible and effective policies to keep them from using these products, we cannot forget the smokers.
Yeah.
480,000 die every year from smoking in this country, and sometimes it seems like very few care. These people have been stigmatized and looked down upon, but we must give them the same kind of compassion and empathy that we give to others suffering from addiction and illness. Banning flavors will absolutely close vape shops.
Yeah.
The less vape shops there are, the less access people who smoke have, and they may not ever get to experience what myself and all of you did.
Yeah.
Going into an adult-only vape shop and having a knowledgeable person explain the products and help me out was vital for my quit journey.
Exactly. Yeah!
Flavor bans on a state and federal level will lead to less smokers switching. It will also lead to black markets and potentially unsafe products. We've recently seen how prohibition can be dangerous. Black market THC oil vapor products manufactured with unsafe additives has already led to unnecessary injury and death. So banning things is not the answer.
That's right.
Instead, we must look to our friends in the United Kingdom and follow their lead as they champion tobacco harm reduction. Because millions of lives are at stake.
Yeah!
The quit or die mentality that many in public health have is proving to be a failure. This is why smokers took it into their own hands over a decade ago and created this wonderful community and industry that we see today.
Yeah.
While mistakes have been made along the way, our mission of making the cigarette obsolete has been more successful than anyone ever would have thought, and we can't slow down this progress now.
Right.
There are sensible and logical ways to address youth use while still preserving this technology for adult smokers. Instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater and using failed war on drugs tactics, we have to take a more meaningful and science-based approach. So today, myself, every vapor out there, is calling on politicians, regulators, and health groups to do the right thing. Read all of the science and give the public the proper info instead of fear-mongering and making adult smokers think that these products are as bad or worse than smoking. If you do not, we will continue continue to apply pressure, and for many vapers, they will be single-issue voters.
We vote. We vape. 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 We vote.
We're still talking to the regulators and politicians here. While we hope you come along for the ride, you will not stop us from continuing to help people who smoke.
That's right.
Thank you, Matt Conley. Give a big round of applause.
All right, our next speaker is Amanda Wheeler. She's from the Arizona Smoke-Free Business Alliance. She's a consumer, she's a business owner, and she's amazing. Please welcome her.
Hey guys, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who made the long trip to DC to come out to this rally and to show our elected officials how important vaping is to us. My name is Amanda Wheeler. I am the Executive Director of the Arizona Smoke-Free Business Alliance. I'm the Vice President of the Rocky Mountain Smoke-Free Alliance in Colorado. But most importantly, I'm a cancer survivor, I'm a mother, and I'm here to share my story with you today. I started smoking when I was 15 years old. The first cigarette I ever smoked were Cools. I think at that time I was being rebellious and didn't realize that I was taking on an addiction that would take me nearly 15 years to give up. When I was 19 years old, I found out I had cancer, Hodgkin's lymphoma. I had to do 6 months of chemotherapy and 30 radiation treatments. The entire time I was getting treatment for my cancer, I never tried to stop smoking. I remember sitting outside the facility, waiting for my radiation treatment, smoking cigarettes. Sometimes a nurse would walk by and give me a hard time for smoking. I'd just make an offhand comment like, oh, what's going to happen? Am I going to get cancer? While I kept puffing on my cigarette. Eventually, I got through all my cancer treatments and was on the mend, but I never did stop smoking. A year or two later, I was at a follow-up appointment with my oncologist. I remember feeling guilty about smoking, but my doctor told me that it was fine as long as I stopped before I was 30. I quit smoking twice in the following decade. Both times were only because I was pregnant. However, those quit attempts didn't last very long beyond giving birth. I didn't want to harm my babies in the womb, but I didn't mind going back to harming myself as soon as they were born. When I finally did quit smoking for good, nearly 15 years after I had began, it was a complete accident. I had no intention of quitting. I was on a work trip, an outing kayaking and camping on the Colorado River. There was no smoking allowed on this trip. When we got to our campsite, my coworker and friend had pulled out an e-cigarette and told me that she had brought that for me because she figured I'd have a hard time not smoking for 3 days. Now this was a very good friend, and I probably didn't deserve her kindness because I had always mocked her for using e-cigarettes. At the time, they were still fairly new and just getting popular. As a smoker, it was easy for me to look down my nose at people puffing on their vapes while I was lighting up a cigarette. So for 3 days during this trip, I used my friend's e-cig. And let me tell you, it was a revelation. It didn't taste bad, it didn't smell bad, the nicotine was satisfying. The day I came home from that trip, I went out and bought my own vape. My days of mocking vapors were over. My first trip into a vape shop was an interesting experience. It was a little overwhelming because there was so much going on that I didn't understand. However, a really helpful clerk got me set up on the right device and allowed me to sample a whole host of flavors to help me find what I liked best. For about a month, I smoked cigarettes and used my vape. Over the course of that month, I smoked fewer and fewer cigarettes each day without struggling. I kept going back to the vape shop to buy new flavors and to try different things. I was so happy with my little e-cigarette. It tasted great, it smelled great, no more stinky cigarette smell on my clothes or in my hair, no need to go outside in the freezing cold to have a smoke. Finally, when I was down to 1 or 2 a day, I had to accept the fact that I was a non-smoker. And that may sound strange.
Yeah!
It might sound strange to say that I had to accept the fact that I was a non-smoker, but at that point it had never really occurred to me that being a former smoker was a real attainable possibility. However, vaping made it easy to quit. And I'm proud to say that I've been a happy non-smoker ever since. I can't tell you how much better I feel physically and mentally since I switched to vaping. I want this technology to be available to everyone so that they can experience the same miracle that I did. I only wish nicotine vaping would have been around sooner. Maybe it would have helped my stepdad, who died of lung cancer in 2006.
Phenom.
Yeah.
Phenom.
I'll go off script for a second because I remember the day that I stood in
Hey,
the hospital
hold
room
this real
with my
quick.
mom and my brother as we watched my stepfather take his last breath. And I'll tell you, it's a hard thing when you watch your brother, a grown man, hit his knees because he just lost his father. And it's hard to stand there with your mother when you know she'll never see her husband again, all because of big tobacco. I can only say that's why I fight today, because I don't want anybody else to lose their loved ones to cigarette smoking. You're welcome. Not only am I a former smoker whose life was improved by nicotine vaping, but I'm also a voter. And when I cast my vote, there will be no issue more important to me than vaping. My vote will go to the candidate who made sure flavored products are still accessible to adults. Not only that, but I will also make sure my friends and family know who to vote for. I stand before you today as living proof that these products change and extend lives. I know each and every person here has a story about the incredible ways vaping transformed their lives for good. Thank you for all coming here and standing together, because united we will prevail. Thank you. Hold on a second, I want to take a picture with you guys because this is amazing.
We vote! 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 We vote!
Stick.
We vote! We vote! We vote! We vote!
All right, our next speaker is Amy Williams. Please give her a big round of applause, please.
Sorry. Like, I cannot believe that you're all here. I have thought about looking over a sea of vapors for 7 years, and I really didn't think it would ever happen. And I'm here today, and I'm fighting not just for you, but I'm fighting for our grandkids, and I'm fighting so that every single one of you will still be alive to see your grandkids. So, back to where, like, I really started the speech. I'm Amy, I'm from Wyoming. If y'all think it's cold here, you don't know what cold is. So get over it. So, when I was born and raised, everybody smoked. Wyoming for 26 years had the highest national average of adult smokers. Guess what? Wyoming is the 5th largest vaping state in the United States. When I grew up, my dad smoked, my mom smoked, my uncle smoked, everybody smoked. We smoked on airplanes, we smoked in the hospital. Heck, I used to smoke in Smoker's Alley with my teachers. So I remember those days. I remember when cigarettes were $2.50 a pack. That was before 1998. Who knows what happened in 1998? So that blood money didn't come from the tobacco companies for that agreement. That blood money came from us.
We paid for it.
Right? That was our taxes. They used our money to kill us. So I smoked for 27 years, like the majority of you guys, right? We all have the same stories. I smoked, I got sick. I got bronchitis twice a year. I'd go in to see my doctor. He'd say, do you want to quit? I'd say, well, I can't, but whatever. He'd say, hey, they got this gum. You want to try it out? I said, yeah, tried the gum. That just burned. It was peppery. It didn't do anything, right? Did the gum, did the patch, did the pill. That almost killed me. That actually almost killed my ex-husband. Actually, that would have been Savage! I'm walking around, yeah, please tag him. I'm walking around a wedding planning show because I got divorced and I'm getting married, right? And my girlfriend, the one who taught me how to smoke cigarettes, She quit.
Yes, right. Right there.
Right? She's the one who, when I was 16, said, Amy, if you're going to keep bumming my cigarettes, can I at least teach you how to inhale? So she's got this vape thing. And I'm like, what the heck is that? You're a traitor. We were going to die together from lung cancer. That was the deal. Right? She gave it to me. It was a little Cigalite, one of those, you know, the early Gen 1 devices. And it kind of worked. It was kind of cool because if I couldn't smoke at work, I could vape at my desk. So I thought that was kind of cool, but it didn't help me quit smoking. It tasted terrible, but it was all right, right? So I tried that for about 5 years. And then finally I came across a real vape store. Right? And I went in there and I had a watermelon flavor.
Yeah!
And it changed my life. From that moment on, from that literal moment on, I never smoked another cigarette. Now, you know, when you have a mom who smokes, that kind of sucks for the kids. It does. I was a volleyball coach. I was a Girl Scout leader. I was the soccer mom. I was respected, but I smoked. So when my kids' friends came over to my house, they went home smelling like a cigarette. And my kids had to deal with the stigma of that. But guess what? My grandkids don't. When I was 11 years old, my mother taught me that I needed to learn something, not just what was written in the books. She gave me a flute. That flute paid my way through college. After smoking for 15 years, guess what? I couldn't play my flute anymore. 7 years ago when I quit vaping, I got my flute back. I played in front of 4 Wyoming governors.
Yeah!
I know, I should have brought it, right? Totally should have brought my flute. I'm a really political kind of person. I always have been. I watch the news constantly. I still get a newspaper, okay? I know that's weird. But I pay attention to all of that kind of stuff. And I know that I don't care what party you are, I'm for all parties. I just want you to vote, okay? I'm from Wyoming. I'm a Republican. Like, Wyoming is the original red of the red, okay? I'm very conservative, but in Wyoming we do this weird thing where we vote for the person, not the party. So we have voted in Democrats and Republicans. And I don't get swayed to any one position lightly, okay? I do my research and I figure it out. That changed this year. That changed for me on September 11th. When my president from the Oval Office lied about this life-saving technology. I have met with my city council members, my state legislatures, and this week I got to meet for the 5th time in 4 years with my senators and my 1 congresswoman. We're changing their minds. We're freaking them out, guys. I can't think of any time in my 50 years on this planet that I have felt so uneasy about the role that our government plays in our lives. If our government can stop this life-saving technology, what else are they going to take away from us?
Right! Yeah!
Flavors? Do they matter? Yeah! This is what I want to hear today. Flavors matter!
Flavors matter! Flavors matter! Flavors matter! Flavors matter! Flavors matter! Flavors matter!
That's what we're here for. I am so disheartened
for what we are leaving to our children and our grandchildren. We now have a government that is no longer for the people, but for the money.
Yeah.
It was us. It was all of us who made this industry. We are the ones who went into the vape stores and said, we want strawberry watermelon. We want vanilla cream cake. We're the ones who went into those shops and told them what we wanted. That's right. You know what the other thing is? For those of you who know me, I am obsessed with the color pink. It's my thing. And this one is purple today, but my pink one night. I'll get to the point. I'm not 16. I'm 50. Just because I am 50 doesn't mean I don't like colors or that I don't like individuality. Just because we're adults doesn't mean that we live in a black and white world anymore. In the almost 7 years since I quit, I have made more friends in this industry than I have in any other part of my life. We are a community, and we will be heard. I'm here today for my grandkids. I'm going to teach them something today. I'm going to teach them when you get bullied, you stand up for your rights. Even when the bullying comes from the Oval Office. Thank you guys. I love each and every one of you.
We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape!
Rick Troutman. Hello, Vaping Nation! This is absolutely amazing. Largest group of vapors ever assembled. Whoever would have thought this day would happen? When you all started vaping, did you ever think that you were going to get involved in politics? No. You know what you are?
Involved in politics.
You're a political movement. The grassroots political movement over one topic, one subject, vaping, freedom, tobacco harm reduction, choices. It's all rolled into one.
Freedom!
You all are here to get the people behind you and up the street to listen to you. What you have is more powerful than any weapon ever made. Your vote. You get to help decide who's going to lead this country, who's going to live in this house behind us, who's going to work in the big building down the road, and more importantly, back home, state and local government. We proved in 2016, we helped elect a U.S. Senator in Wisconsin. Last Tuesday night in Mississippi,
Give him more ideas.
we helped elect a governor.
Hell yeah!
It's just the start. 2020 coming up. We get to decide who lives in this white building behind us. We get to decide the 435 plus 33 senators that are going to work up the street. If they're not with us, what are we going to do? Vote them out! Vote them out!
We vape! We vote! 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 We vape! We vote!
polling place on election day and pull the lever or fill in the bubble.
Turn your
or
ringer off,
hit the
son.
button on the electric machine. We Vape, We Vote means you educate yourself. We Vape, We Vote means you find out who's running for office. You engage with them. You engage with their staff. You find out where they stand on the issue, and you educate them. It's not just happening on election day. This takes place from now until election day. You become pains in their rear. You don't take no for an answer. Vapors' lives do matter. Lungs matter.
Yeah!
When you educate them, don't talk down to them. Don't assume that they understand your industry.
No.
Okay, you talk to them like you're talking to a sixth grader.
Yep.
Okay, if you own a store, talk to them like you talk to a new customer.
Yeah.
Help educate them. Help educate their staff. The staff members for politicians are the ones that do the heavy lifting. They wind up the politicians and send them to go do what they do. The staffers are the most important people you'll deal with. At the local level and the state level, it's very important. Where are we seeing most of our problems this year? At the state and local level. Who's been doing the flavor bans? At the state and local level. Look at California. Every week you're hearing multiple cities doing flavor bans. How many states have done flavor bans? 5 or 6. You've got to educate the local politicians. Winning and having an effect in a state and local race is just as important as at the federal level. And guess what? In a state and local election, it's possible that 100 votes can change the margin of victory.
Right.
How many of you all can turn out 100 people in a state or local election? How many can you turn out 1,000 people? Okay? If you want respect from the politicians, you start beating some of them.
Yeah.
That's when you'll be noticed. Educate the local politicians. Get involved in the campaigns. If you want to get to know a local politician and their staff real well, volunteer to work on their campaign. Go do yard signs, go knock on doors, make phone calls, hang around the campaign office. Get to know the people. That's how you'll get your message across. They'll take you seriously. If they know that your votes are up for grabs, guess what? They're going to be a lot more likely to engage with you.
Yep.
We Vape, We Vote means more than just going to the polls on election day. When you go home, you start to work. If you can turn 2 or 3 seats on a city council to a pro-vape candidate, do you think you're going to see a flavor ban? No. If you start turning seats in a state house or state senate, do you think you're going to see anti-vaping legislation get passed? No. You guys have more power than you believe. Okay? Use it. Use it. Today, the people that live back here and work down the street hear you. Very soon, there's going to be a lot of politicians across this country hear you. And what are you going to tell them?
We vote! We vape! 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 We vote!
I thank the organizers for allowing me to come speak, for putting this together, for bringing all of you here. Go home and get engaged, and let's win this fight.
Everyone give Greg Troutman a big warm round of applause! He's on the front lines, fighting for us every day. Speaking of a fighter, do not let her tries to fool you. She is an absolute savage when she comes and talks to politicians. They call them stupid right to their face. Everyone welcome, Lindsay Stroud!
What an amazing crowd. Thank you so much for joining us today, and let's thank UVA, guys. Now thank yourselves. We are only here because of you.
Yeah!
We're here because adults who sought safer alternatives, adults who felt to be doomed to be addicted to combustible cigarettes, because adults like flavors too. Now, I've always been in awe of the vaping community. I'm a government major and a millennial, and I got really mad that people were not paying attention to their politics. But then I got involved in this community, and I saw that you guys have been threatened by so many regulations, taxation, and now prohibition. And I'm just amazed at your tenacity and your unbroken spirit, and that you have not backed down on a product that we all know is one of the best harm reduction products of the century. Unfortunately, we have to keep fighting. We are not Big Tobacco, but you know what? Big Tobacco was forced to change their products because of all of you. We are also up against a campaign of misinformation, distrust, and a general lack of understanding of what tobacco harm reduction is. There is no youth vaping epidemic. I said it. Fake news, yes. In 1997, 42.7% of high school students were using tobacco products, with 36.4% of them smoking combustible cigarettes.
You want to hold again for
Results
just a
from the
couple?
2018 National Youth Tobacco Survey indicate a huge decrease in tobacco product use. Only 27.1% of high school students are using tobacco products. Current cigarette use is at 8.1%. Further, only 20.8% of high school students are vaping. That's a heck of a lot less than 36.4% of students that were smoking cigarettes in 1997. But we didn't ban cigarettes then. Well, in 1997, an additional 21 states decided to go sue the tobacco companies. So I imagine it's kind of hard to ban something you're trying to get money from.
Yes.
But let's dive further into the latest craze, vaping-related hospitalizations. Something I believe the media and public health is just waiting for. Yes, yesterday the CDC did admit that vitamin E acetate is the culprit in these injuries. We knew this since September. Further, CDC is no longer providing reports about the substances faked. On October 15th, they had identified that the patients had reported, 78% of patients had reported vaping devices containing THC. Now they're not giving us any more reporting. If you think the CDC is bad, go look at the state health departments. They're all over the place. Who would have thought that the Mormons would be the most transparent? But it's true. Utah Department of Health found that 94% of their patients with lung injuries reported vaping THC products. They also tested those devices and found 90% of them contained vitamin E acetate. And mind you, they did this in September. But other state health departments are only spreading fear and alarmism and not providing any information, including Mississippi, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Tennessee. They're just saying vaping. Some are now hiding their information.
Sorry, LST's taking a break, so you can't see your comments currently.
22nd, found 81% of patients had reported using THC. You can't find that report on their website anymore. Unfortunately, the narrative of tobacco harm reduction is being lost due to the so-called youth vaping epidemic and the onset of hospitalizations, which no state or federal authority has been able to identify a single product. We need to be emphasizing 95% less harmful. Even the American Cancer Society has acknowledged that e-cigarettes are significantly less harmful because they do not contain nor combust tobacco. And we are at a very dark time right now, with a lot of uncertainty. As we're waiting for the federal government to do something, governors are unilaterally banning the sales of flavored e-cigarettes. In one state, they banned all e-cigarette sales. and state lawmakers are already drafting up legislation for 2020. We need to let them know that we want our harm reduction, that we demand access to our harm reduction. Public health and politicians have failed us. It is up to you to retake that narrative and retake your claim to harm reduction. We vape, we vote. And we also need to emphasize that this is a consumer-driven industry. This is not big tobacco, but you force big tobacco to change. You must also be in contact with your lawmakers, not just during the during ballots. Whether reaching out to let them know what your flavor you're vaping, how much you're doing in your shops, or how many customers' lives you've saved by getting them to quit smoking. I'm going to leave you today with a couple quotes. This is from the guy who invented the Segway, not the guy who died after buying it. Every once in a while, a new technology, an old problem, and a big idea turn into an innovation. I think that sums up about the whole thing about electronic cigarettes and vaping devices. E-cigarettes are a new technology addressing the issue of combustible cigarettes, and they further expanded harm reduction. And lastly, from Dwight Eisenhower, what counts is not necessarily the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. Thank you, keep fighting!
We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! Across the street! We vote! We vape! 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 We vote! We vape!
Don't you forget it either! All right, next guest. Proud to call him a friend. There are very few people that really impress me, but he's got laser focus and clarity of thought, and there's very few people that I know that have that ability. So I would like to introduce not only my friend, but the leader of the Vaping Legion, the commander himself, Tristan Thompson!
I want to hear it loud and proud, my brothers and sisters. What do you do?
We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote! We vape! We vote!
Look around. Look around you right now. Look at this. See this? See what I see? Look around. Look around you. This is strength. This is unity. This is power. Everyone's motivated, voting, public, not afraid to stand by what's right. It doesn't matter how toxic the media tries to make us, how much the health orgs lie, how much the NGOs push politicians to stand against us. We will not be divided. We will not fall. We vape, we vote, and we are not afraid of anyone or anything. Am I right? How many of you here have lost a loved one to smoking? Raise your hands. You are their voice. You are their power. They are with you. Carry them with you everywhere you go. When you are tired, think of them. And think of the fact that you are saying, no more. Not on my watch.
Yeah!
I don't know about all of you.
Yeah!
You should be proud of yourselves. This was something that they said could never be done.
Why don't you have that phenom?
You put the
What that guy just had.
here. You showed up today. This is your day for all time. Prohibition is policies, and politicians have brought nothing but ruin every time they are instilled. They have never been successful. We will not stand for it. We learn from history, and it's time that our government does as well. Every time it happens, it falls. We will not fall, will we?
No!
Are we united?
Yes!
What is our mission?
We vape! We vote! 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 We vape!
How many of you here are activists? Let me see the hands. That's what I like to hear. So on election day, the time comes, if they continue to stand against us, we will do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Vote them out!
Yeah!
So this is a plea to President Trump, to Congress, to the state councils, to the township committees. You want us to vote for you? Then you need to stand with us, those that vote. So in closing, flavors matter, flavors save lives, and we're not going down without a fight. Not now, not ever! Thank you. I have never been more proud of this community, and I look forward to seeing you all in the future as we continue the fight. Thank you.
We vote! We pay! 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 We vote! We pay!
All right. All right. Next person I want to introduce is shop owner, consumer, and someone who's taken on the FDA and gotten results. Cheryl Smith Richter. Please give her a warm round of applause. Cheryl.
I know you're about to kill me.
No. No worries.
I know how you old police officers are.
Shut your mouth. Beat your ass.
I'm here from Tennessee. I'm very grateful that I'm here. I'm grateful that you're here. I'm grateful everybody who's watching on your
No lives matter with me.
I couldn't have walked the half mile here if I wouldn't have been able to quit smoking.
Yep.
I don't have to repeat all of that, do I? Alright. I'm just one of millions. Yes, I own a shop, and yes, I did do some. I was used to bring the FDA to a little bit of reasonable action, to where shop owners didn't have to spend 2,700 hours, which don't exist in the work week in an entire year. I got mine done in about 100 hours. And so I know from personal experience that we can work with Washington, we can work with the bureaucrats, we can show them reasonable ways to get what they want. The fact that if Capella Strawberry had some kind of outbreak, the FDA has no way of protecting all of you and everybody else who votes, everybody else who vapes. There is no protection. So why would we give them a bajillion more pieces of information that they cannot manage and refuse to manage, just to put me and thousands of others out of business?
Cold and allergies.
Oh, shit.
Limiting choice is not an option. I need my flavors. I could not have quit with tobacco. Could any of you have quit with just tobacco flavors? I'm sure there's 5.
Oh!
Alright, I'm gonna switch it up and let's just shout. Flavors save lives. Can we do that? Yes! 1, 2, 3.
Flavors save lives! 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 Flavors save lives!
Damn straight they do. You know, it's funny, I just let that fall out of my mouth, and I'm gonna just tell you that as a Christian, I may have different views than some of you, okay? But nobody has come up here and talked about the other things that are important to their lives. My faith is very important to me. In case politicians are not aware, a lot of vapors are in fact Christians. Praise God. Absolutely right.
Your hands cold?
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
hands cold? I got warm gloves in my backpack.
Okay, I can't hear you, so I'm going to keep talking, but I'll talk later with you. You know what? In case politicians are not aware, everybody is saying, my body, my choice, my body, my choice. And it is totally okay what anybody else chooses to do with their body. But let me tell you, if it is okay to kill babies in this nation, it should absolutely be okay to save this 51-year-old's life and all of your lives. I really want you to think about that. Okay? You matter. All matter. I'm sorry, I did get very distracted, folks. I'm just a human being. All right. Thank you, thank you. You know, it is so good to be united. I am a little bit overwhelmed. I wish somebody would ask this sweet lady to leave and I will talk to her afterward. I do want to say something, just my own heart. I see all ages. I see all races. I see mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, cousins, somebody's second cousin twice removed. But not all of you have beards. You know, many times for 28 years, I tried to quit smoking. I tried a lot. I also failed. I failed a whole lot. No drug, no patch, no amount of willpower could put a dent in my smoking habit. And I've got to tell you, when I was in high school, I needed $2 and a ride to the Minute Mart. Nobody cared that I smoked. They even gave me a smoking area at the high school to do it. It doesn't matter if it's a good kid or a bad kid. All kids are going to experiment, including my own.
What's up, brother?
It is not the government's responsibility.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. They kicking ass, ain't they?
The 14th Amendment tells me that.
What's going on, brother? Oh yeah.
Johnny's house last night. Standing there.
Oh yeah.
It was after my dad died. Let me tell you what, he was more than just one of 480,000 people who died each year. He was a bona fide, one in a million American hero, and he served our country proudly. So in August of 2011, my then boyfriend got me a kit. I wasn't particularly thrilled. I was the unintentional quitter, if you will. I am so grateful every single day. I don't mind telling you, it took a lot of grace to be kind to him when he gave me that gift. I thought he was trying to take away my cigarettes and change me. And he did, for the better. The only thing I didn't like about that little kit that saved my life was my very first flavor was tobacco. For about an hour. Bubblegum got me off cigarettes. And I've stayed home. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Bubblegum, desserts, I need them all. So when we're talking about saving one flavor, let's make sure that we say we need to save them all. We've got to switch it up. We've got to keep it interesting to stay off cigarettes and to stay alive. And I'm going to tell you that God has designed the human body very beautifully. My lungs appear to be non-smoking lungs. Yes. The doctors at Vanderbilt University know it, because they were going to take a kidney from me 2 years ago to give to somebody else. I could not have given that gift or even attempted to give that gift when I was a smoker.
All right, folks, my battery is about to go dead, so I'm going to have to kill this feed. Check out Mike Vapes' channel. I believe he's got it going live on his, and we'll be seeing you back here soon. Appreciate you watching.
They know it, and we can't help the way